Hello and welcome back. This is A Lost Adventure, and today we'll be covering The Goblins Lair. Released back in 1992 and written by Graham Davis, this was a box set that was part of the Thunder Rift setting, the same time period as The Haunted Tower and The Dragon's Den. And this isn't exactly the most impressive set of adventures. There's three of them. The first one's the Red Hand Trail, followed by Trouble Below, and the last and final one is the Palace of Dread. And in them all, it's just the players are just going to be killing goblins. There's a little bit of a smattering of other things, but it's mostly just goblins. And each one of the adventures, so called adventures in here, it's mainly just a one level dungeon. Comparing it to the Haunted Tower is a whole lot better. There's a lot more interesting things in the Haunted Tower than there is in Goblins Lair. Now, in saying that, I don't mean to completely dismiss this entire series of adventures. It's it's sort of like an entire module series. It's a journey for beginning players, whereas the Haunted Tower was set for characters that are like levels 3 to 5. This is definitely designed as like a levels 1 through 3 adventure. Um, in regards to who it was made for, I would say 2 to 6 adventurers of levels 1 to 3. And it'll lead them through it. Well, it'll bring them through all three of the levels. It pretty much starts off with the players kind of wandering around looking for work, I guess, as like homeless vagabonds. And when they step into Klein, all of a sudden they are surprised by the fact that the mayor actually wants to see them. They don't need to seek them out. The mayor is seeking them out. See, the problem is Klein is pretty much the only area of civilization in this section. There's a bunch of outlying farmlands, but they're mainly just single family households. And a bunch of these farms have been destroyed recently. And the mayor wants you to figure it out. He's already got some information. Apparently, a series of goblin attacks are originating out of an old mine. The players will go there, they'll take care of the goblins, and then the mayor will be like, hey, you should go to Hearthhome, where the most militaristic section of this entire northern area would be, because those guys will be able to do something about it if it becomes an issue. And he'll send you with a letter to go to Hearthhome and speak to the Dwarven King over there. They'll go over there, and as they're there, the Dwarf King will suddenly realize he has an infestation of goblins in his catacombs. Players will deal with that, and then they'll finally go back to Klein, where they will be pointed in the direction of the Burning Hills, where they have found out that is where all the goblins are originating from. Apparently, there's a goblin over here that got big and bad and popular, and has been deciding that he's going to make an alliance with the bugbears and hobgoblins and take out this entire northern region. So the players go to the Burning Hills, take care of that, and they wipe out that entire situation. Now, out of all three of these adventures, Trouble Below, the second one, the one that's going to happen, Hearthhome, is probably going to be the best one. The first one, Red Hand Trail, and the third one, Palace of Dread, they're really not that interesting. They're really go into this location and kill goblins, which is good for beginning players. But the second one, Trouble Below, that actually has like a story underneath of it. There's you have to go down there and kill the goblins, but there's also an entire background story going on. And I'll get to that when we actually get to the adventure. But the other two just lack any sort of depth. Like the big bad for Red Hand Trail is just Goblin Chieftain, and the big bad for Palace of Dread is Goblin King. I mean, there's nothing else there. It's literally just, hey, go into the cave, kill goblins. Doesn't matter what's going on, the backstory. That's it. Trouble Below has an entire little catacombs adventure going on. I'm a big fan. Oh, I should also mention that the box set actually has a set of simplified rules of D&D, where it almost becomes more like a board game. It's called the Goblins Lair, just like the box, and it's I'm not really going to go over it unless there's a lot of interest in it. It's only 4 pages. It's inside the last booklet. So the three adventures. Each one of the adventures comes with its own full-size poster map that it's colored just like the Haunted Tower. And just like in the Haunted Tower, the DM has access to his own map where it has where the monsters are. It's really simple. There's a key for it. I mean, it's like stupid simple. Like you could give this box to a group of 12-year-olds that have never played the game before and they should be able to pull it off. I'm not going to go too in depth on all three of these adventures. They're really simple. Red Hand Trail is the first one. So the players, when they're wandering around being homeless vagabonds, they'll end up going in decline. While they're in decline, the mayor will ask to meet them. They'll meet him. He'll give them a map saying, hey, you need to go to this mine to go deal with these goblins that are murdering all my farmers. Players will go to this mine, right? They'll get there, and this map has 22 separate labeled encounter locations. And this is the DM's map. This entire section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, is pretty much the old mine itself. The players will end up running into wasps over here. A wasp nest attacks them. Over here in 2, there's actually a wraith. Actually, I think it's 4. 4 has the wraith. Number 9 is actually a bat cave. All those F's stand for giant centipedes that are eating on all the bat guano on the floor. And when the players come in here, they'll bother all the bats who will then blind them for a little while. Section 13 is actually a bear. There is a bear that's stuck in there, a grizzly bear. And if the players remove the rocks that the goblins have placed over here at E, well, the bear comes out and attacks them. Section 11. This is actually sort of important. This is the Goblin Sentry's Cave. If the players aren't careful and they awaken the Goblin Sentry, he will raise the alarm if he escapes from the players. If he escapes and raises the alarm right here where there's an L that's supposed to be a log that's supposed to be like used as a bridge, that'll be moved and there'll be 3 goblins on the other side of this sort of river right here that are going to be shooting bows and arrows at him. And while this is happening, all these goblins in section 15, along with the goblin chief, his direwolf, and everything else, is going to form up in 14. And this is where a big old brawl is going to happen for the players. If they don't awaken the sentry and they take care of them, all sneaky like they're Metal Gear Solid players, instead, these 3 goblins aren't going to be here. And all the other goblins will be as they are on the DM's map. There is a separate, it's an alternative entry for the map block. Here it is. Beyond that, there's not really anything too interesting in this thing. There's a fungus cave. There's a waterfall down here that has really no importance at all. I don't know why it's in here. The Goblin Chieftain's Cave's all the way in the top corner. It's supposed to be one of the places the players will find last after they fight through everything, if they didn't face him in that one location. After the players do this, they'll go out and all the farmers will be very happy with them and congratulate them, and they'll reward them with 50 gold pieces. Not 50 gold pieces apiece, as in 50 gold pieces for the entire party, because that's all the money they have. And that actually ends Red Hand Trail. Trouble Below, which is the second one, begins with a little blurb talking about how the mayor of Klein then gives a message to the players to deliver to Hearthhome, which is pretty much the seat of the ruling Dwarf Lord, to advise him of the ongoing issues going here. The players will go to Hearthhome. They'll talk to the Lord. As they're talking to the Lord, a servant will come out and say, oh no, we have a problem. There's thousands of goblins in the catacombs. In which point, the king will then question the intelligence of his servant by asking him, how many did you really see and how did you see him? Apparently, this servant saw him through like a keyhole, and there was only 4 that he saw, but he could hear thousands. The Dwarf Lord then will request your help in dealing with this as he mobilizes his army and ask you to go into the catacombs to go deal with it. It's not really the catacombs, actually. Now, the previous Dwarf Lords are buried underneath Hearthhome. However, this pathway is actually the emergency exit from the castle should it be besieged. So the Dwarf Lord is a little bit bothered by it. He will also tell you how there may be something else in the basement. And he will inform you about how his predecessor, a Mad Lord Gargan, disappeared in the catacombs, and Gargan was well known for practicing black arts and was doing all sorts of unsavory things down there. Last they heard, he was down there working in his laboratory, and that is it. And this is the DM's map. There's 32 locations in there, even though there's one that's actually multiple locations at the same time. But there's 32 locations in here. Some of them are tombs. The tombs are mostly trapped. Number 7 actually isn't trapped. However, number 8, the casket or the sarcophagus actually has a dwarf holding a metal sword, and there's metal writing around the edges of it. Should the players touch it, they'll be electrocuted for 1d3 damage. 10 has a flame trap, and 12 just has a basic dart trap, except, they're poisoned. It's poison darts. Number 13 is actually going to be the tomb of Lord Gargan. Inside of this tomb, there's 2 skeletons, and Gargan's still there, but he's a white now. Oh, I should mention, this entire location is covered in secret doors. Almost all the locations have to be found by players looking for the door, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. 28, the section that has all the sub-lettered sections, that's just dungeon cells. There's 4 goblins down there, but that's what it is. 29 is an escape tunnel, so the actual tunnel that the Lord's supposed to use in case their castle is besieged. It just takes them a mile south of Hearthhome. The players can go down if they want to. They just run into 1d3 parties of 1d6 goblins coming into they're coming into the basement of Hearthhome. I know it's not a basement. I'm just calling it a basement because it's easier for me to say. 30, 31, and 32 is where Gargan did all of his experiments. In number 30, that is his study, if the players search the room, there's a chance they may find spells and or scrolls for the players to be able to use. 31 is the laboratory. In here, if the players screw around, things might go bad because it'll start mixing all the ingredients he had. There's an entire d20 roll for it. It's inside the thing. 32 is the enchantment and summoning room. Now, when the players get here, there's going to be goblins here, yes, but there's also going to be a gargoyle that they'll have to deal with. Number 18 is the treasury, where there is a whole lot of gold and treasure inside there. The players aren't supposed to go in here, but it does have a section saying what happens if they do, in which case the Lord will show up along with some of his Hearthguard, who will then inform them that, hey, thanks for making sure the treasury's safe, but you guys can leave now because we got this part. If the players decide they want to fight the Lord and the Hearthguard, well, it's a never-ending wave of Hearthguard. For every single Hearthguard that's taken down, a new one replaces them. So the players will be taken down should they decide to try and steal from the treasury. And that's pretty much all the interesting points in it. There's a bunch more, but it's not that big of a booklet, like 16 pages. The rest of them just aren't as interesting. And once the players completed, as long as they didn't, do any tomb raiding or try and steal from the treasury, Lord Ragni, the Lord of Hearthhome, will then reward each player with 100 gold pieces and an additional 20 for each player if they found the tomb of the Mad Lord Gargan. And that's it for Trouble Below. The last and final adventure, Palace of Dread, begins just by the players being summoned by the Mayor of Klein. When they get there and they speak to the mayor, he will advise them that his scouts have found the base of the goblins, and he has grave news. It appears that emissaries from the Hobgoblin tribes and the Bugbear tribes have arrived, and he believes that they're about to make an alliance. And should all 3 of those factions form an alliance, they'll be the strongest military faction in all of Thunderrift and be able to take over the entire region. Thus, he asks you all, you random group of vagabonds that he's barely known for a month, to go to this base of goblins and end the threat. There's nothing really interesting in this one. It's the same thing. It's a 1-level dungeon, but there's not as many secret doors. There's no magic backstory. There's nothing like that. There's no ghosts or anything like that. This is a slog. The player's gonna have to kill a bunch of goblins and hobgoblins and bugbears and dire wolves and wolf riders in this cave, and that's the adventure. Well, it's not a cave actually. It's apparently an old gnome burrow home or village. So it used to be a gnome village that was in a hill. When the players are going through this thing, they'll be able to find some of the captive gnomes inside there. The Goblin King is there. He can be found in section 15. He's only a 3 hit die monster. Before you get to him, there's 2 goblin chieftains that are called bodyguards that are 2 hit die goblins. The interesting thing is, though, in his chambers, the Goblin King has a pet owlbear, so the players get to deal with that. 16 is the treasure vault. There is actually a decent amount of treasure in here for the players. This will set them up for a little while. 23 is where the bugbears are at. There's 4 of them. They're actually tougher opponents than the Goblin King. 24 is where the hobgoblins are at, or at least the troops are. This one's not too bad. However, 25 is the hobgoblin ambassador's quarters, in which case this guy is actually equipped with a +1 sword that also is +3 against dragons. So that's a decent bit of treasure. But beyond that, I mean, actually, even before that, the map describes exactly what the player is going to find. When you look at the DM's map, it has where all the monsters are at that they're going to have to crawl through and deal with. Section 1 has a couple shriekers in it, which is the queues. If the shriekers become aware of the players, they will sound an alarm, which will cause all the goblins in 2 and 3 to be ready for them to pretty much ambush them. There's a lot of goblins in here. Your players should probably be levels 3 at this point. Otherwise, they're going to have a really difficult time. Not because of any fancy tactics or anything like that, just because of the amount of enemies they have to face. Now, after they finish this adventure, that finishes this entire adventure path. The player's rewards for this adventure itself is nothing. They get to keep the treasure they found, except for some of the stuff they found in the treasure vault and in one of the secret chambers right here. Because apparently the secret chamber was sort of like it's where the priesthood of the gnomes used to run all their stuff, and a couple of the things that they want to keep from the treasury belong to the old gnome king, so they would like that stuff back. In return, the gnomes will give them a pendant that's only worth 75 gold pieces. Oh, I'm sorry, not 75. They're worth 25 gold pieces. So, yeah, 25 gold piece pendants. But they do come with a benefit. They show other gnomes that they are friends of the gnomes, and they get a bonus to all rolls when dealing with them. The other gifts they'll receive is the mayor and the lord that they previously dealt with will also issue them sort of like medals for their services that will help out when dealing in Thunderrift. They'll be recognized as small town heroes, and that'll give a benefit to rolls. And they will also be given some magic scrolls, some potions, depending on the player class and everything else. And that's it. That's the entire adventure path. I guess I'll rate it now. For an adventure rating, I'm gonna give this a 2. It's not a 1 because things that I rate a 1 are absolutely horrible adventures that make no sense. This makes sense. It's just not interesting. Or it's not too interesting. I guess if your players are about killing goblins, yeah, this is for them right here. It's a low 2, but I'll still give it a 2. It it does have some benefits. It will give the players it should give the players a sense of satisfaction by making them heroes. They will become heroes to this entire region up here. They will give them a sense of accomplishment and everything else. For value, it is available as a PDF off of DM's Guild for about $5. But if you buy the box set only costs about $70. Actually, right now you can actually find combinations of the black box starter set for the basic and this box set for about $90 to $100. But you can also find a complete box set of the Goblins Lair for about $70. And for what you get inside of it, which is entirely colored poster maps. You have a bunch of card stand-ins for all the monsters and everything else. It's not horrible. So I'll give it a I'll give it a 4 for value. It's a decent value for the box set if you buy it. And as for deadliness, I'll give this I'll give this a 4. Yeah, it can be pretty deadly. If the players aren't leveled up enough, they're pretty much going to get overrun. The first adventure is stupid easy. The second adventure, it's a little bit more difficult, but the players should be able to deal with it if they know what they're doing and they think smart. The third one, they're definitely going to have to think smart. There's no question about it. With the amount of enemies that are there, they're going to have to rest up. They're going to have to bring supplies, and they're going to have to bring everything else. They have to be prepared for the third adventure. Otherwise, they're going to fail that one. So I'll give it a 4. And with that covers the adventure. I hope somebody out there found this useful, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.